So when we get in this position, our knees need to do a lot of the work. I cannot allow his elbows to be inside of my knees, right? I'm in trouble now. I don't have mount yet because his elbows are where my knees need to be. So you need to be really, really mindful of what your knees do, because if his hands are in here, then my knees aren't. And if he's got his elbows in, I know he's going to get out, because it's so easy for him to make that wedge to spread my legs out, and he's out the back door. So what are things that we can do when guys get their knees underneath here? He can only defend so many things at once, right? And that's our goal. So if I have somebody that comes inside of my knees, I'm going to make sure that I'm nice and high. Because if I'm low with a wedge, it'll make, because when his elbows are in, he's going to elbow escape, right? That should be his goal, because he's got great arm position. So if I'm nice and high when he goes to the elbow escape, there's no real movement for him to make because my hips are already too high. As soon as I'm up here, I can then drop back down and look for that control. And watch what happens once I push his head out to one side. You see how that elbow just lifted off the ground? This side, on my left side? His elbow just came off, so I can suck in that space. As soon as that space is sucked in, I can then start to attack in here. A lot of times what that'll look like for me is I'll actually switch sides back, and then I'll try to bring both of them in. Once I have both of them in, my head's offset, I can start to look for my spider on either side. But if I am okay with this positioning, I'm going to be in trouble. And if I stay too low in this positioning, I'm going to be in trouble. So what I like to do is once they get those elbows in, I'm going to come nice and high and make sure that I'm giving him a little bit of chest pressure just to keep him distracted and to keep him looking in the direction I want him to go. Because remember, if he's looking in one direction, I just took away one of his escape angles. He can't really go that way when he's looking that way. So now I can at least predict from which side he's going to start to look for his elbow escape. Then from here I can push across and then start to look for that head pressure. And as soon as he gets committed to this side, this elbow comes off the mat. As soon as that elbow comes off the mat, I'm going to take that space in. As soon as I get that isolation, that's when the game starts, right? That's when we can hang out here. And even if I'm not ready for it yet, I've got this underhook pressure that I can start to deal with. And what's a real fun, everybody's wearing gis. Once we get this underhook and we're looking to give him a little pressure, the Ezekiel choke is right here. Where's that hand? Hand's right here. Which way is he looking? He's looking at the choke. We love it when they look at the choke. So I'm going to Ezekiel choke him from here. This hand is going to come in and it's going to come straight across. As soon as it comes across, I'm going to grab my own gi and straighten both hands. Anybody see where my head is? It's off center, right? I'm not above him. If I'm above him, I'm about to get ooped. As soon as this arm comes in, I'm going to come off to the side. I'm going to make sure that head is isolated. This hand comes with the palm up. It's going to come straight across, and I'm going to grab my own gi right here. Once I have this, all I do is just give him a little bit of pressure. If he's looking this way, he'll go right into this little triangle. I want his neck right here. If he's looking up, I have to come all the way across to get the straight choke, right? So if he's looking up just from here, if I want to get a good blood choke, I gotta get all the way across to the side. But if he's looking here, when I come across, he's already lined up for me. Our ideal grip is just like this, and then we're gonna chop him. In times of desperate need where nobody can see, you can put your thumb in your gi, but try not to, because then your thumb gets stuck in your gi and then you don't have one later. We want to keep one later. So he's got his elbows in, oh crap. Nice and high. I'm going to come across and I'm going to give him something to look at. I can feel that elbows come up. So I'm going to take that, but I don't want to just start the isolation right now. I want to either submit him or get him thinking about how much fun it is to be mounted. So this hand comes across. You can see my chest makes a little hole right here. It comes across. As soon as I get across his throat, I'm just going to start giving a little pressure. Even if I don't get the submission here, that's fine, because what is his arms going to do? Now I got both arms, right? Whether I get the submission or not, I don't care, because now I've got one. Oh, look, I got two arms that are already isolated. Again, once we get these isolations and the guys stop doing jiu-jitsu, they're so much easier to submit because they're not playing on the same field anymore. So even if the choke doesn't work, that's fine, because what's our goal is to get them to panic, get them to be done. Say, screw this, get off me, I don't like this anymore. That's our ultimate goal. So, one more time. He has his elbows in. We're gonna come up nice and high. I'm going to underhook the head, give him that same shoulder pressure. You should be cognitive of that elbow, because that elbow will likely come up when I drive with my shoulder. So that knee is going to replace that space. From here, this hand is going to come inside, and then I'm going to give him a little bit of a choke. You can straighten both arms when you chop if you really want to go for the choke, but most of the time you can do it just by cutting your wrist and your hand across each other like this. You don't always have to extend. A lot of times, especially if they're looking, that's all it takes. Even if you don't get the finish, fill the space. When he comes up to defend, great. Take that space and we'll move on to the next submission.